Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Circle Track Chatter. My name is Craig Smolders, joined as always by the legendary Rob Young. Rob, how are you tonight?
Very well, Greg.
Good, good. How was your weekend? Championship night at Buxton Speedway?
I'll tell you, there was those were some exciting races. Uh, we're looking forward to having Mark tell us all about his race. I can't wait to hear the play-by-play from the guy who won it and had to come through all that. So, yep, exciting night at South Buxton Speedway.
Yeah, it definitely was an exciting night, championship night. So they inverted the field. So yeah, it was some interesting races out there. Late model race was definitely a great race. The top three cars were going crazy.
Yeah.
Jake Hooker, your son-in-law, was
Yep.
Was on the outside there trying to make something happen. Just couldn't get it done on the outside.
But Greg had some really good bite down low, and Jake had a good run up at the top through 3 and 4, and Greg just kept coming back there. Man, I'm telling you, it was exciting. I think everybody was standing up for that.
Yeah.
What a way to cap it off, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of championship tonight, we are we're going to be talking to the winner of the Great Lakes Gymnastics Mini Mod feature race on championship night, the 18P of Mark Phelan. Opening remarks on Mark Phelan before we get him in here and talk.
Well, you know what? I had a chance to talk to Mark. This is the first time I've met him, watched him race. I'm just like I'm floored. We're in his shop here right now, and everything's very well organized. I can tell that's the kind of guy he is. He tells me it's dirty, but man, it looks great.
Yeah.
His car always looks spectacular out there, and it's always it looks like it handles very well. And he's a little older than I thought. He's 48 years old. I expected somebody a little bit younger, but
Thank you.
man, he doesn't look 48 years old. But
Appreciate that.
yeah, so we've talked about that, and got to know a little bit more about his family and some of the things he's doing. So we're gonna get into talking about that. And he's a very exciting young man. Yeah, he's 40, but he's got a lot to talk about. So can't wait to hear it.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's get him in here and let's have a conversation with Mark Phelan. Mark, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
on Circle
guys.
Track Chatter.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for welcoming to your shop here at Magnum Signs. Why don't we start with that? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Magnum Signs, what you do, and give yourself a little bit of a plug.
Well, the Magnum Signs, I've been doing it, sign business since 97. I took over the purchase of Magnum Signs in 2008. Magnum Signs has been out since 98, or 89, sorry, 89. And yeah, just that's been my career until this summer. I decided to become a farmer.
Okay.
And I'm a potato farmer with Pat Haskell and our boss Josh, and I wish I would have done it sooner in life. It's pretty fun.
Excellent. Well, that's all good stuff. That's a good intro. Now, championship night at Buxton Speedway. Congratulations on the feature win. Rob, would you like to talk a little bit about that, how that race went from your perspective?
Well, as I said, it was all those that were there that watched the show. We had a big wreck on the first lap, and Mark made it through and went on to win the feature. And it just, as I said, we're going to have Mark sort of give us a play-by-play of how all that went down. And first of all, how he made it through, because everybody's sort of focused on the carnage, and but Mark made it through and went on to win. So he's going to tell us all about it. But I don't know if we want to do that. Have him go through that right. Yep. So Mark, tell us. You started ninth. I know that.
Yep.
So from the drop of the green flag,
It was
coming
go
down
time.
the front straightaway.
It was go. Just get to the front as fast as you could. I know a lot of guys tell me, patience, but no, you need to get to the front because the guys that are, your competitors are behind you, and you need to get there as fast as possible. So that's all I did. I just kind of weaved my way through, and coming out of turn 4, we're already in second place, and I'm like, all right, keep going. Get into the first corner of lap 2, coming around the corner, car's handling very well. And I see Gerald Underwood start to get a little sideways in my peripheral, and it's like slow motion, and he's gone.
Yep. Now, I'll just stop you right here for a minute for the folks. We don't want to blame anyone for this. I can see in Gerald's case where there's a hole there. He can go for the lead. He was just doing everything he could on a championship night.
Yeah.
No one will ever hold anything against
No.
Gerald for that. It was, but the after effects of that took out 3 of the top competitors. With that being said, now I'm turning back to Mark. So here we go.
Yeah.
There's cars wrecking, and where did you go?
I flew down the front stretch. I'm like right on. We're in first, and then the red come out. I'm like, oh no, what happened? So I kind of cheated a little bit and went around the corner under the red so I could see what was going on because I was very concerned that this was pretty severe, and the whole field was involved in it. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I might win this race on the first lap. That was pretty crazy. And then they started pulling a few cars away. I saw Dylan's car, and I was starting to get a little bit bummed out because I do want to race the best guys.
Yep.
I don't want to win the way I won. I still think that's not the right way to win. I wanted to race Evan. I wanted to race Austin and Dylan for this night.
Yep.
So it kind of sucked. And then I saw Evan, getting pulled off, and that bummed me out that I couldn't race them. So that was kind of crappy. But yeah, Gerald didn't do anything wrong. He's just racing hard.
Yep.
And maybe that section of the track might have been a little dry, but yeah, it's just a bummer.
But then not only that, so here's the first couple of laps, and I think I counted there was at one point there was only 9 cars left,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. But you still had your work cut out for you.
Oh, for sure.
Because here we are, we get later in the race, and we see that Marshall Haragers has come out to race, and he's no slouch.
No.
Okay,
no.
so I know he's been instrumental in your program
Yes,
here.
sir. Yeah.
So here you go. Now, okay, and we still have a mountain to climb to win this feature.
24
So
more.
tell us about that. All right, here we're rolling along and had a couple of cautions, I think, in there, but you're in the lead and you've got to protect that.
Yeah, and so I kept thinking of last week. I like to keep a slow pace when we get to the start. And last week, leading the race 15 laps in, I missed shift second, which caused the crash with Dylan and going to the back and all that. So that's in my head thinking, okay, you need to keep the pace, do this. I know who's behind me. I don't know where he is because I saw that, Marshall was there. And just race your race. And, my crew, one of Marcus and Dave and Marshall's dad said, race your race. You race your race, nobody can beat you.
Yep.
And that's what I did. Going through the guys that may not have the same amount of experience and setup skills that we have, that's the hardest thing. They're doing their best, doing what they do, but it was pretty intense.
It was an exciting race.
No, it was,
and
definitely.
We're happy for you. You won it.
Thank
you. And it's not, there was a race within a race as the points were going on there.
Yep.
And I know that was going through your head. I know that they because I'm involved with the Bonner team, and I know that they were doing all the mathematics ahead of time to see, and not just that division, a lot of divisions they do the same thing, but where do we have to finish? What happens? All these different scenarios, but nobody could script this.
No.
That this was going to happen.
No.
Yep. All you had to do is just, okay, from here on, go out there and you won the thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, it was exciting, as I say, to watch. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So there we go. We went through and we now know right from the bird's eye, if you will, exactly what happened here. So, let's get back to where your racing started. You indicated that the Bill Profota was a big part of your your wanting to be a race car driver. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started, I think, to be junior kindergarten at St. Francis School in Tilbury. They ask everybody what they want to be when they grow up, and I made this cutout race suit with the 51 on it. I wanted to be just like my Uncle Bill. I wanted to be a race car driver. So that's pretty much where it started. Going to the track with my parents. My dad was part of his crew with Brian Krill. There's so many guys, Ron Arts, all those old, Frank Sparks and them. They got a little bit further, like later on. But yeah, going to the track with them, getting ride home from the racetrack in the race car at 2:30 in the morning, falling asleep in the car out to Ebert's. That's where it was.
You mentioned that you've been married to your wife Jen for 18 years.
Yep.
And she's related to Mark from Sparks Performance. Is that right?
Yeah, Sparky. Yeah.
And is he's her uncle?
No, that's her father. That's her
dad.
Yeah, that's her father. Very
So
intimidating man for a while.
Wow, you guys are right in there. What a guy to have for a father-in-law.
Well, at first it was pretty crazy. Our first date watching him race, he's doing 180 miles an hour down a drag strip. And I'm like, that's my father-in-law. And I'm going to watch him possibly die here. Yeah. So he was very intimidating to me for the first probably 6 or 7 years of our relationship. just
Yep.
because of what he
Yep.
did. Like, how do you live up to that, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, he's a great man.
I've been
He-
to Mark's shop a number of occasions, out there to buy fuel usually.
Yep.
If you needed fuel, he had barrels of it. So, yeah, it's a nice shop. He's been around a long time. Very respected racer.
Yes.
So it's good to have people like that. I always say this: you want to have good people in your corner that
Mhm.
can really help you along. And I can see that that's.
Yeah, he has definitely
Does
helped
that
me
happen?
over time.
I can tell you a little story about Bill and Yvonne Perfoda from back in 1981 when I got started racing. I parked right beside Bill in his 51.
Yep.
At that time, late models were, if you can believe this, the late models they raced back then are Camaro front clips,
Mhm.
leaf spring cars, just like your Thunderstocks are now. I kind of giggle about it. How things haven't really changed. Our Thunderstocks used to be late models.
Yep.
And Bill was parked right beside us, and I remember Bill was out there for the heat race, and the thing kept jumping out of gear. I imagine he ran like a Saginaw or a Muncie type transmission, not like the Burt or the Brin transmissions they run now, and it was jumping out of gear on him. And so, well, what are they going to do? He says, man, I can't drive and keep popping this thing into gear, right? So I'm pretty sure it was Yvonne that came up with the idea that, well, let's just strap it in whatever gear that was in third or second gear, and we'll run a bungee cord around that to the roll bar, and we'll push start Bill when he goes. And I'm pretty sure he won the feature that night.
Wow.
So,
Well, he was very talented.
yeah, I told that story at Mel and Jake's wedding, and Bill was there, and yeah, he doesn't remember that specific thing, but that's what I remember that many years ago. So, yeah, Bill's a hero of mine as well. So, with that being said, Craig.
Well, I was just going to ask, do you have some stories from back then that you'd like to tell? Like, do you have something that kind of sticks out in your mind, be it at the track or maybe a specific win or something?
I do remember like watching a lot of fights back then. A lot of fights. I saw a lot of fights when I was a little kid. I remember, passing out, the lights would shut off at the track, and I'm like, come on, like, let's go home here. And then they'd stay there all night.
Yeah.
And then drives home, like being strapped into the race car on the trailer, going all the way out to Ebert's, and then cleaning bugs off my face. And then they'd go to work and they'd get that car ready for the next night at Ridgetown. Very good crew. It was, they were dedicated that way. So I remember that. That's been something that I've always seen, that it takes a lot of work to do it, and they were very successful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, of course, the dream comes in that you want to eventually drive some sort of, do some racing anyway, right? Is that kind of in the plan right away, or is that?
No. I watched Uncle Bill till I think I was about 12 years old, and then I got out of it. Didn't really get into it. My old boss Terry Peck didn't really get into race car wraps or anything. The old owner of Magnum didn't get into it either. They said, stay away from that stuff. You don't make any money off it. I'm like, okay, so I did. And then I met Joey Brusso in 2013 and Drew Smith. They came to the shop and asked if I'd be interested in doing the car wraps. So I did them. And then I got involved with 5150. I think it was their second year. And I decided that this would be a good way to possibly help them out. So I sponsored the track, gave them signage and stuff. And at the end of 2013, they had the fall brawl, and everybody participated in that. And after the night was over, we had a few pops and said, here, take a cart, go out and try it. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it, no. So I did. Went and did 10 laps, and I'm like, this is actually pretty boring. So Ryan Custer, he makes, I think, Cartworks, he came out, and Jeff Bembridge came out and said, oh, I'll go back out again. So we did, and they smashed into me. We went around. I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty exciting now. So I don't know who I talked to. I don't know if it was Dennis Smith, but he got Kirk Hooker involved, and Kirk found me a cart within a week from Roger Slack, I think it was. So we took that, and then I practiced from that fall every week. I'd go at least 3 times a week. Not doing my sign business. I'd leave at 3 o'clock, and I'd go and practice with Jeff and who would ever show up till mid-November, just every, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I just got the hang of it, and then we started racing in 14.
Awesome.
So that's how that
And
started.
in go-karting, of course, there's a lot to learn. It's not just, they're not big things, but you show up and there's a whole lot to them. What was the kind of the learning curve like for you, either setting up the cart, working on the cart, all the stuff that kind of goes into it? Because you would have had a little bit of that knowledge,
No, not
but
at all.
not with
None at all.
go-karts specifically, right? So
I was no, I was the type of guy. Give me something to drive, and I'll do the best I can with it. And that's what happened the first night. Didn't really know anybody in 2014. Went out first night, ended up winning the feature. Never ever raced a go-kart, but I still go back to, the practice in November and October really helped me get into that. And then one of my biggest competitors, RJ Morneau, wanted the motor tech because there's no way a rookie could win his first race out.
Yeah.
And that was due to Ken Smith. Kenny Smith came over and he changed the tire pressure of my tires. And he says, that was why you won. I'm like, okay. So then, yeah, it was a great season. We raced with a lot of up-and-coming race car drivers like Cody Vandewinkle, Pat, and what's his brother's name, darn it? Deschamps, Joel, and it would have been Cole, or it would be, sorry, Cale Best and RJ Morneau. And there was a few others. It was we raced with Harley Hornick. It was great. It was a good year. And then I ended up getting Rookie of the Year that year. So it was pretty awesome. Second in points behind RJ.
Yep, I grew up about a couple miles as a crow flies from the Morneau family.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
And I've been involved in their racing program for probably. In fact, I even drove for the Morneau family back in the late '80s. Great racing family. Again, really good people.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you about it's the number 18 here. Where did that come from?
I was born April the 18th.
Okay.
That's just been my number, and I don't know why. 18. It used to be 16 for a while for Darcy Tucker, but he's no longer playing hockey, so we went back to the 18.
You're a hockey fan too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. You play any hockey?
No, never played any hockey.
Any sports at all?
Baseball. That was my big thing back in the day until I was about 16, and I just couldn't deal with the stress of being dedicated to that. I just wanted to have fun. So
again, we just want to know.
I was just wondering, did you play competitive baseball?
Just house league. House league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just locally.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, from T-ball till whatever that would have been, Pee Wee, I think it was back then.
So I'm looking at it looks like is it still an 18 that I see on the go-kart, or was that a different number?
So in 14, I had a coworker, Devin Tedford. He worked for me for about 3 months. He wasn't. He was dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He ended up overdosing on fentanyl.
Oh boy.
And he was a really good friend with Kyle Hope and Ryan Bonner and them, and that really struck a nerve. Kyle and I got pretty close after that had happened, and we ended up doing a memorial race for him and went to 69T because that was his hockey jersey number. So we ran the rest of the season with the 69T on it, and when we did the micro sprint, we ran with that too, the 69 on it.
Now we're going from the go-karts now to the micro sprint stuff. How did that all get started?
Well, in 2015, I won the championship in the go-karts, and I think that once you've accomplished that feat of being the best of that, you need to move on to something else. So that was the goal there. Get into the micro sprint. Kyle and I had worked on that and got that thing running. We needed to spend a little more time on it than drinking beers, but it was still fun to get it running. So then in 15, we got that thing rolling really good and started winning some races. And then I raffled off the cart that year to a young girl that ended up winning the raffle. And that kind of supported my race career. So once I thought that was a really good idea, I'm like, okay, when we want to move up to another class, we'll raffle this one off too, and then that will support the next racing addiction.
Yep.
So here we are.
But talking about the micro sprint a little bit, where did you run? Did you win some good races or big money or championship?
We really didn't race for money until I took over the series and started sponsoring it, and then we started to get a certain percentage of what the pay-in was for the night. I won a few races, not enough. I think I came second in points in 15 and ninth in 16. And then we wanted to do a traveling series, so we started to go race at Oswego and Sherry and Gary asked us to come and do some micro sprints there. So we ended up racing the inaugural shootout there, and I ended up winning the first race ever at Buxton with the micro sprint, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, congratulations on that. So obviously you said, you know, you want to progress and keep moving up once you're successful. So then you decide you want to try your hand at some big car racing. You're looking at a mini mod. I kind of wonder what it is about mini mod, what it attracted you, or you just kind of liked it. What was it about the mini mods?
Well, it started off, a friend of mine, Brent Colby, asked me to take his daughter's bomber out. We ended up taking it out one night, almost caught fire from a caution in the hayfield in the middle of the track. And then Dave Johnson, a good friend of mine, he asked me if I would drive his car because he became a infield flagman. So I became the Cole Trickle of racing at that point, coming in on a four-wheeler with my race suit and my helmet on, and the car was always ready for me, ready to go.
Yeah.
So I went and raced it. We have a body panel of it up there. So yeah, I raced it. I was supposed to only race, I promised my wife I'd only race it 5 times. I ended up racing, I think, 8, just because it was so awesome. So after that, Dave and I made a deal. I ended up purchasing the car from him, and it became a part of this.
Nice. That's cool. And how did that work out for you when you kind of first went out there? Because I mean, obviously, I had experience in a micro sprint and a go-kart. Was it what you expected? Was it a little bit tougher, or were you just kind of?
It was actually easier.
Okay.
The only problem we didn't have enough horsepower. We didn't have the setup, because the go-karts, there's not too much you can do to them. Mm-hmm. Whereas these, it's pretty much a mini late model with a modified body.
Yeah.
And I had no clue, so I would just go out and have fun.
Okay.
That was my goal. Go out and have fun. You start 24th, you make it the 10th because everybody wrecks. That was a big deal to me. That was like a win.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I was, and I still don't know as much as I should know.
Okay. Rob, you have any questions?
Well, you know, it's pretty cool. I was kind of looking at the whole field of mini mods. They all run a little 2.3 liter Ford engine.
Mm-hmm.
They basically rev them at about 7,400 RPM, and they're all so it's almost like, and this division is unique to Buxton, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like this. Other than I know that Ryan talks about going to Clarksville and stuff like that, but you guys, that division has been a strong division.
Yes.
It's got they're taking old, basically late model chassis,
Mm-hmm.
cutting them down. Now is this like a Mustang 2-foot clip under this thing, or what do you
No,
use for
this
clip?
is a Dutchman Motorsports XR31. There's a sticker right on the side there.
An XR31.
So yeah, this was,
Okay.
we took that chassis that I had purchased from Dave Johnson in 21. Actually in 22, I raced, 21 I raced with that car. And then in 22, Marshall and I decided to build a new car.
Yeah.
So we kept the cage, kept the sidebar, and built a brand new chassis underneath. And he did an amazing job on it.
Yep, he's won a lot of races, and you can tell this looks like a Marshall car, doesn't it?
Yes, he talked me into it. I wanted to do white car, blue roll cage.
Yep.
He wanted the black car and a white chassis, which not too many people have white chassis, and it's sharp. And once I put my green and my white on it, I was in love.
Yep.
It turned out really good. And we had to have the 3 colors of when Jim Herreggers used to race. That was his colors, the green, red, and blue. So we had to have that tied into it. We are a race team.
Was it you ran a Malibu? It was number 31 back in the day. Yeah, he was a good runner.
Yes.
But yeah, this division it's unique to Buxton Speedway. But you guys you've got a really good class of cars.
Yeah.
You put on a good show every night. Like I said, especially the championship race that you won. What a race that was! That was very exciting. So I can just imagine being fans in the grandstands and seeing these things race, and the fact that we've got I think there's 4. What do we have? 4 or 5 divisions out there, but very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to a commercial break.
Yeah, we'll take a quick commercial break for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Mark Phelan, driver of the 18P Mini Mod at Buxton Speedway. Circle Track Chatter, sponsored by Elliot and Ashley Wilton of Royal LePage Piper Realty. The faster realtors around, call Wilton's, a house sold name. Back with Mark Phelan, driver of the 18P Mini Mod at Buxton Speedway. We were just talking about the classes before we went to commercial break. We were talking about the mini mods. These mini mods are a lot of fun. I've always been a big fan of these mini mods, and a little bit more interesting talking to you is back in 2021, I believe it was when I kind of got to know you and your family a little bit, doing the videos down there. But I have a pretty cool video that I took a screenshot from, and you guys were four wide, and I want to say that it was you, Evan Bonner, maybe JD Hack, and maybe one of the drinking teams. I can't remember who's in that picture. But I've always promoted these mini mods, and now seeing you run up front, winning races. I even saw your mom on Saturday night, and she's always got a hello and a big smile for me, which is really cool. But being able to promote these mini mods and you being a part of it, because you're a great guy and you have a great family, and it's just incredible to promote these mini mods. So I think we want to keep talking about this just a little bit more. And why don't you kind of talk us about that? Talk to us a little bit about that. Kind of growing up, working your way through the class, because like I said, you're four wide, kind of mid pack. Now you're winning races.
So yeah,
what's the progression like for you?
Back then, starting 24th, coming up the field, watching everybody wreck in front of me was awesome. A 10th place, an 8th place was like, I won the race. I met Marshall through some miscommunication between me and Dave Johnson, and we needed to figure out who was right and who was wrong. So Marshall showed up with this yellow cube van and a trailer, and he's like, I'm going to take your car and we're going to put a setup on it. So 3 weeks later, I get the car back, and it was totally night and day difference. I couldn't believe how much better it was. So we were actually being somewhat competitive, getting top 10s now. And he's like, you could do so much better. You need to spend some money. Yeah. So, and then we decided to do that the year later. And kind of wish I would have listened to him. I am pretty much a perfectionist. We had built the chassis. It was, bare steel. I wanted to paint it in my spray booth, and he wanted to paint it in his 10-acre bush. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if you take this car, it's not going to be ready for the season. I was like, all right, I'll do the best I can. So then we got busy. I pieced it together as I went through the year. Finally got it ready. Henry had the city shut the track down for those 5 nights, mm-hmm. and they were allowing us to race that one night there. So Marshall and our team bust our butts for 3 days straight to get it ready for the 2022 championship night.
Yep.
Henry allowed me to race, which was pretty awesome. I was very surprised that he would, because I had never raced this car yet. So we went out, and there's a few things that probably should have been done for safety that weren't quite, but Randy okayed it, said you were good to go. And went. Raced against my teammate that had bought the car off Marshall, and ended up beating him. I got a 5th place finish, which was pretty awesome. And then that was it pretty much. Okay, we need to get a bigger motor in here. Yeah. So then I got hooked up with Sean McNally, ended up purchasing his championship motor off of him. And last year was just a progression through the year. Would lead 18 laps of a race, and Dylan Bonner would take over at the end, or Austin Pickering would take over at the end, and 2nd place. I was always the bridesmaid, and it hurt. It hurt a lot that we were putting all this effort into it and wasn't getting that win. Won a few heat races. Those are great, but get that win. Yep. So then it came the shootout. Austin and I don't know if we're magnets to each other. I know aluminum isn't a magnet, but we always seem to touch each other for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just a battle or not. Raced really hard with each other, and I think it was about 4 laps left in that shootout. Ended up taking the lead from him, and ended up winning my first feature ever, winning the shootout last year, and it was just an amazing feat. It was nice to have my family there. Everybody was involved. It was great. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool. Well, I always like to ask people about their first win, so I guess I'm going to ask you as well. What do you do when you take the lead and you're coming to, are you counting down laps? How are you working out? Like, are you thinking about the first win, or are you just focused on what you're doing? How's that? How do you work out
at that point, no, because I've been iRacing since 2017 with the goal of teaching myself to be a better race car driver. Okay. iRacing in 17, when I went out and started racing the micro sprint, it was like I never stopped racing for the winter. It became a really good training tool for me.
Yep.
The anxiety that I would get before a race went away. So that helped, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about any of that?
Well, I just, for the folks that are listening, it doesn't matter what division you're in. You put everything into it. Sometimes every dollar that you have, whether it's a mini mod, Thunderstock, whatever, you spend every night of the week fixing that car. Even a late
Sometimes,
mod.
yeah.
So what he's talking about, and how he wants to get better, and you just give it everything you've got, and it doesn't matter whether it's a mini mod, a Thunderstock, or a late model. You just want that win, and I mean it's I can see that as sort of like the progression through go-karts and whatever. And I've often mentioned this about how go-kart racers make such great stock car
Oh, for
drivers.
sure. Yeah.
And I can see that in you. And just watching that feature on Saturday night, there was a mountain to climb, and once he got done that mountain, he had another one because he had Marshall behind him, right? And
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that the whole time.
like I was really impressed. So I just wanted to mention that to the fans that it's not easy. And you're sitting in the grandstands, you see this, and these guys put everything into it, guys and girls.
Yep.
Put everything into this, and they think about it the night they wake up, thinking about it. Like, how am I going to make that thing faster? So I can see that Mark's doing that.
I don't know about I just drive the car seriously. Like Marshall is the brains. Dave Wilson, those two guys, they know so much about racing. I am a guy that just gets in the car and races it. I try to explain to him what I think it's doing. And over this year, we've had a really good year, but then we've had some bad stuff happen too. But just I had a really hard time explaining to them what I'm feeling in the car. But so they've kind of translated over time because I'm not them. Mm-hmm. And I never will be. Like, I can race a car, but to know what they know, it's nuts.
You impressed me, so.
But yeah, like,
you gotta know something.
Yeah. Well, I know how to drive, and that's kind of where I feel that's where my fit is.
Yep.
Doing you need to turn the left shock here. Yep. I don't understand that as much as they do, and the tire pressure and what it makes, the difference. They just tell me where to drive, and I do the best I can.
Well, I'm impressed.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, you've had a great 2024 season. A couple of wins, right? Just
5
wins.
Yeah, 5.
So I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of wins this year. So you're having a heck of a run. And I mean, you've had some bad nights or whatever where you've kind of had some incidents and stuff. So why don't you walk us through your 2024 season?
I'll try my
how the good times get you through the bad, or the bad times get you through the good, or whatever.
Car was awesome, ready to go. I think we had a pretty good car the first night. Power steering. No, sorry. The belt came off the water pump. Ended up overheating the engine about 270. Those little motors don't like that. So that was, let's go back to the drawing boards and figure out what. So we had to, plane the head, get a new head gasket. Second night out, we ended up winning the feature, which was just amazing that, after having the bad luck we had. So it was we're taking off from our 2023 shootout win and just carrying on, just getting more comfortable with the car, just feeling better. And we had a few more bad nights. Track was a little rougher than this car likes.
Yep.
So it ends up making it a harder car to drive. And I think one night I ended up getting lapped by Dylan 3 times. And this car shouldn't get lapped by Dylan 3 times. So that, and then had a few seconds, a few, I think 7th, I think we got, a 13th, and then we ended up June 8th again. After that, I went on vacation. Marshall ended up winning one night for me, which was pretty awesome to see him back in the seat and winning again after some of the luck that he's had in the last couple of years with the late model. I know he's doing the best he can, but the motors will go when they go.
Yep.
Well, Mark's he's a very humble individual, and he didn't want me to say anything about, but obviously you can see all these trophies up here, and if you notice this year, the feature winning trophies are what you see displayed right here. But also, Mark was telling me about these Kit Kat bars that he has here.
Yeah.
And he and Marshall have become Kit Kat fans. That's what they have. So this is a ritual now. So when you win, whether you have I don't know if you win you get a Kit Kat, or if you
usually you bring it and it's there just as, I don't know,
Yeah.
kind of a good luck thing. But yeah, at the end of the night, if you win, you eat it. But
Well,
yeah,
Kit Kat's pretty good. My wife
Yeah.
loves Kit- She
Yeah.
loves Kit Kats too, but
Kit Kats are good.
yeah, you gotta have something, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the carrot.
well, and then Holly's always seems to, we have a hot dog roller, so we're cooking hot dogs, and she usually makes like a really good crock pot of macaroni and cheese.
At your trailer.
This is at Marshall's Cube Band.
Oh,
He's
Marshall's,
got a
okay.
traveling shop. Yeah.
Oh, so you got like food in there.
Oh
now.
yeah, it's couches, TV. It's awesome.
So yeah, we've kind of gone through the 2024 season, as you said, 5 feature wins this year, which is amazing. Looking forward, 2025. Are you sticking around the mini mods? Are you figuring on doing something? What's the plan?
Our goal is to win that championship. I know we don't know quite where the points are yet. I wish we knew that already. You know, it's a couple days after the season's over. Kind of wish we knew where we stand. Congrats to Dylan. I'm wearing his shirt tonight just to support him. Great racing with him this year. We had, I think, one incident this year where I would love to take back because it kind of changed the whole outcome of that race. I probably would have beat him that race if we didn't hit each other, but it was just the way it happened.
Stock car racing is a contact sport.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
if it weren't that way, we wouldn't have roll bars
Yeah.
and helmets and all this.
Yep.
It's all part of it. Okay. I mean, you can't. And unfortunately, it's tough to have buddies when you're racing, isn't it?
No,
Like
it isn't. No, I think you can race each other with respect. 2 weeks ago, I ended up losing my opportunity. I led 15 laps,
Yeah.
missed shift into second. Dylan and Caleb are on each side of me. Dylan cuts down on me, and my car seems to him. Just tagged him. Then we had to start. Both of us had to start back again.
Yeah.
Well,
in your defense, I want to tell you, as a spectator, I saw that. I think I was standing, I had gone down to Jake's pit, and I'm coming back, and I saw you miss that shift. Wondered what happened.
Yeah.
Like you slowed right down, but you're pedaling hard. So you're trying to get down there. You've lost this, and in your mind, I got to get back there, right?
Yeah.
So you drove into turn one, and again, in your defense, you did nothing wrong. You just drove in there a little hard.
No. I think I drove my line. He, like a guy coming on the outside, would try to cut you down.
Yeah.
He had said that he kind of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have went down there because his car doesn't handle quite as well as mine does down there. And yeah, just got involved with that. And I went over and said sorry because that's not the kind of driver I am.
Yep.
The week before when I did win, him and I raced 10 laps side by side. We did not touch each other the whole time. And I went high-fived him after because it was an awesome race that we could race with each other and not touch each other. And it just happened that I had the luck of, you know, watching down the track a little further, seeing where lap traffic was, and it just happened to work in my favor, and we ended up taking the win that
It's
night.
interesting you say that because good race car drivers can look ahead.
Oh, for sure.
You're always looking down there, and you were asking about what goes through your mind. In my mind, and I don't know if this is for everybody else, but when I would see the cross flags, and especially in 20 lap feature, I know that okay, I start counting them down, and of course you got to get a caution in there, but that's how you in your mind you start counting them down, and then the last couple laps you're sitting there waiting. Where the heck's the white flag?
Yep.
Go around again. Where the heck's the white flag? Jesus, you know. You're pedaling really hard and you're leading it, but okay. Back to a couple things because I want everyone to know as much as they can about Mark. Mark has 2 children. Joya, his 14-year-old daughter, is in grade 9, and then Sawyer is 11 years old. So, do they have any interest in racing at all?
I think my daughter's probably. I know my mom's probably my biggest fan. And I think my wife is probably my second biggest fan, and my daughter Joya, she's probably my third. They're pretty awesome. Joya's a really amazing young girl. She's like 14, going on 18 right now. But yeah, she's awesome. I love her.
Okay, I brought my kids when they were. I have 2 daughters, and they ended up marrying racers. Angela, my oldest daughter, married Ryan Bonner, and then my youngest daughter Mel married Jake Hooker. So I don't know, and this, don't get me wrong, it's great. I love racing, and I'm glad that they married racers because it keeps my finger on the pulse, right? But just be prepared.
Oh no, I understand because that's kind of my situation. My father-in-law was a racer. I wasn't a racer when I met my wife, but now I am a racer. It's kind of like,
and a
wow,
fine racer at that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of racing, what kind of stuff do you do like to do with the family? As Rob just kind of mentioned, what keeps you busy when you're not at the racetrack or working on the race car?
Fortnite. My
Oh,
son is a pretty big Fortnite kid.
Okay.
He's really good at it. I think in the future he might have a career on Twitch or whatever and start making some money. He got diagnosed in 21 with muscular dystrophy, so we've been dealing with that and trying to make the best life possible for him.
Yep.
Trying to, not spoil him too much, but we don't know how much time we have with him, and I love the kid to death, so I'm going to try my best to make it the best I can for him. So whatever he wants to do, he likes going for walks, his four-wheeler. We were going to get him involved in the junior sprints just before we got the diagnosis, and they kind of steered us away from that kind of thing for him, just because it takes a little more time for him to heal if something was to happen. So, yeah, let's give him a four-wheeler, though. So he has a four-wheeler. He enjoys that. He likes going for walks in the bushes and stuff in parks and that. But yeah, he's quite the Fortnite kid, so it's good. And then we like to go on vacations, going far away, enjoying nature. We go up to the Markdale area up north there and enjoy that. Other than that, it's pretty much this and around the property, going swimming in the pool. Pretty much it. Making cookies, I guess. We like making cookies together.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. But your shop, as when we sort of opened the show, I can tell you're a very organized person. Even though you told me that this place is a mess right now.
Yeah, it's dirty. It's bad.
That's a good thing to have. I wish I had some of that. My shop's a disaster. Look at this. The place is beautiful.
Yep.
Got a nice place here. Got a nice place to work in your car.
Yep.
I can just imagine what the nights are like and get this thing in here and get her tore down. By the way, it looks immaculate for being the end of the season.
Yeah, and this is year 2 on the body because we did this body in 22 and only got one night on it. The first lap, Dylan lost a spring and destroyed the whole right side. It got caved in and everything. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. Didn't hit nobody, and he lost a shock and a spring that night. So then I was going to replace it because I like souvenirs. I like, guys that I've done work for, and I like to keep a body from each year. And Marshall's like, you're not going to replace the body after one night of racing. I'm like, so this is, we raced all last year with it and this year. So we've got 2 years out of one body.
And you're obviously not a superstitious person, right? You don't believe in the.
Oh, geez. No, I don't.
I
I wear like the same socks. I wear a pair of underwear. I wear a Brett Riom Memorial T-shirt. It has to be certain things all the time. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just one final question for me. I like to ask everybody: if money is no object, you can do anything you want. What would be the ultimate track, goal, race, whatever you wanted to do? What would
money was no object?
Yeah, you can do anything you wanted. You can run one race or track or whatever.
It'd definitely be Eldora.
Mm-hmm.
Eldora would be the track. Brett Riom took me with him in 17 to help out with Andrew. And seeing that, the way those guys, this is bad. Seeing the way he was with Andrew and stuff, that kind of was what I wanted my father to be like with me. Mm-hmm. And when he had cancer, and seeing Andrew win that, that heat racer, I think he came in 4th or something, and being able to make the dream and seeing the way he was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So that would be my track.
Yep.
Just because of those memories with them.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there's a picture out there of Brett standing at the fence and Andrew on the track. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was either Brett Bonner that took that or myself. We were taking so many pictures. I took the picture of Brett reaching in and shaking him. That was a pretty awesome day.
Yeah.
It was great to be a part of it.
Great. It's just a great track to go to, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, whether you're racing at Buxton or whether you're racing at Eldora, no matter what, it takes a lot to get these cars to the track. You got some sponsors you want to shout out to?
Wow, there's lots of them. CSD, it's Creative Sound Design. That's my buddy Tross. Him and I have been friends since we were 18. Dave Wilson, Construction. Dave Wilson, you can't say enough about him. He puts these magic bands every week on my car from his cigars, and for some reason, they are what is helping.
Yeah.
Viltech, Phil Villaranda. I've known Phil for a long time. He's an outstanding person. I've known him I was hanging out with my Uncle Bill back racing then, helps me out whenever I need signs bent. And he's one of those guys that doesn't want to charge me. And when I tell him there's no charge, he hides money in my shop somewhere. Jeff's Roofing, he's done nothing but help out, support us, give us money when we need it. He wanted to help Marshall out last year when he went to Eldora. So he's on the car for that. Crane Painting, that's Mason. He's one of the pit crew. He comes and supports every week. My father-in-law, Sparky's Performance, Fuel, like he's just a book of knowledge. Dutchman Motorsports, that says itself right there. That's Marshall. His engineering skills and everything that he's built in this car. Jim Harreger's Home Inspection. He's been a big supporter of us. My Uncle Bill, Perfota's Garage, another big supporter. And Westside Performance, and then Magnum Signs on the front. Couldn't have done this without Magnum Signs. Magnum Signs would sponsor my car 3 rolls of wraps per year, which allowed me to do the cars that I do each year to support my race career. If it wasn't for Magnum Signs, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's all very good. Rob, do you have any other questions?
No, I know a lot more about Mark than I did when I first walked in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, surprised at a lot of things. As I said, the get-go, I'm surprised that he looks as young as he does, and he's 48 years old. Yeah, I was like that till I was about 60 years old, and then I went to pot then. So. Anyway, I see you've got a great future racing ahead of you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wherever you go from here, I know you'll do well.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like whenever the passion's over, that's when it's over, right? So I've got permission to race until it's over.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is to win that championship. That's the biggest thing, and then we'll take it from there after that.
Yeah.
I'm content with iRacing too, because on Saturday that felt like iRacing. It was like sitting in my little cockpit in the computer, and nothing went wrong. It's one of those nights where it was good.
Now, take it from a guy I've lost a lot of championships because of stupid stuff. I could go on for another half an hour if you want me to and tell you all the things that happened to me that cost me championships, but I won't. Anyway, it's all water under the bridge now. So
Yep, you just learn from it, right?
Keep that focus,
for sure.
that championship in your out there in the horizon.
Yeah, Dylan's won his, so now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Marshall won a lot. Dylan's finally won his after all his bad luck, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's won it. I would have loved to have won it, or even Evan too. Like Evan's worked really hard and finally got those feature wins this year. Austin's already won one, so it's our turn now.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, thank you very much, Mark Phelan, for welcoming us into your shop. It's been a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, guys. I
Yeah,
really
thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
us.
It was
Yeah,
a pretty cool way to do it.
It's nice to come out here and see your shop and see all the signs and doors and everything else you got out here. So, thank you very much, and we wish you the best of luck going forward. Congratulations on all your feature wins in 2024, and hopefully we'll see you out there in 2025 in the Great Lakes Mini Mods. And
Can't wait.
we wish you all the best of luck, and thanks again for joining us on the show and having us out here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. If you want to get on here and tell your story to Circle Track Chatter, let us know. Let myself know. Angela Young-Bonner. We'll get you all hooked up and we'll get you on here. If you live in the local area around Chatham or Windsor and you want us to come out to your shop, just let us know and we can definitely set that up. We got Dupuis Media Productions out here. We got Cole back there in the production studio. He's helping us out with all this stuff. So if you want us to come to your shop and put on this fine display, let us know. Thanks again to Mark Phelan once again for joining us here on Circle Track.